Hello and welcome to In the Know with Sowetan. My name is Nandi Ntini. The Gauteng MEC for Education, Matome Chiloane, says the province has seen a rise in early retirements and absenteeism among teachers, mainly due to overcrowded schools and growing incidents of school violence. He says these challenges have caused serious tolls on educators' mental health as well as the ability to maintain discipline in schools. Joining us to unpack these challenges is the MEC himself, Mr. Matome Chiloane. MEC, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for the invite.
So I think we'll just get right into it. Just following on your latest remarks at the Learner Admission Placement Media Briefing, you mentioned that teachers were taking early retirements and the issue of absenteeism was on the rise. Can you tell us more about that and just showing us the department's data for the past 2 years, basically?
Yes, indeed, I did say in the media briefing that there has been, we've noted a significant rise from, absenteeism, rise in retirement, early retirement there is. So, of course, it's a concern. We had to go and really check what could be the main contributor to what we're seeing in terms of statistics compared to the other years. And we're able to pick up, of course, is that it's quite difficult in schools. Obviously, learner discipline amongst that, employee well-being amongst that, and research also itself, independent research also itself, was able to highlight that due to, actually it was listing overcrowding. I think the research obviously was targeted at overcrowding. But learner discipline is a big issue. Employee relations in schools between the senior staff and the junior staff is also an issue. So we've seen that. These are some of the things that we want to address. I mean, statistically, if I could give you a figure, obviously there are various grounds. Sometimes it's also illness-based, where we're sitting in the past 2 years, we've had about 261 educators who retired just due to illnesses. That's around that. Ill health. We've had which on its own it's an increase of around 95. It's around almost a percentage increase from the previous other 2 years. In terms of early retirement, we've seen the numbers have also been increasing. Look, when we say an increase on its own, I mean, even if it's a percentage increase, it's worth noting that why are we getting more of our teachers really retiring early. But also more concerning is the absenteeism that we've also seen. We've seen a 5% increase from that one. We've seen much more teachers taking leave. I mean, initially, when you are happier to work, most of the time you'll sometimes even forget to take leave. I tell people I've not taken leave ever since I became an MEC. That's how much I love my job. So I love them so much. But yeah, so these are the number of. So we've seen an increase in the number of absenteeism, which is around 5, which increased from 4.9 to 5.4%. It's a problem. We've seen leave days being taken that rose by around 11%, 11 to 12%, 11.5%. And that is despite the decrease in the number of school days. Okay. It's not a significant decrease. I mean, it was 211, now it's 209. Remember, the calendar gets adopted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so it was just a 2-day increase because of the holidays that were closer to the weekend. So that society must not assume that we're cutting school days.
No.
We're not cutting school days, yeah. And also, we've obviously the head count, because of our growing the system, we've seen an increase in our number of teachers. But it's not that because there's more teachers than there's. No, the data doesn't tell us. The data tells us in terms of those who have been in the system and for long and how many days they've been taking. So most of them, they don't waste time. When there's leave, they take it. So they've been taking their leave, which which 11.5% is significant. I mean, we can say, if we put it in numbers, you will say it's 87,844 days. But obviously pay is divided more than the previous year, which was sitting at it was 762,000 the previous year, and it has increased to 850,000. So we've seen more teachers really taking it. So that's why I was saying that we have seen a spike, and it's a trend. You know, we can see that, it means something is happening in the system that is really causing discomfort for educators.
But speaking to them, were you able to maybe gather that information, like maybe sitting down with them and them telling you these are the issues, and like you've mentioned, the contributing factors to this is the issue of overcrowding in schools and also school violence, which is but becoming more problematic in our schools lately?
Yeah, no, we, of course, when you take leave, sometimes it's all leave days. But the biggest contributor to that is it's what we call a temporary incapacity leave, which recorded a 43%, which is related to sick leave. You see, so that's where the big problem is. So you can see that this is where we're able to pick up that it's stress related. I mean, of course, we've seen an increase in maternity leave, which is it's a good thing. I mean, we appreciate maternity leave because it's one of those that we. But the temporary incapacity leave, which is related to sick leave, is where we've seen the biggest number, which is around 43% increase. That's why we've noted that, it means it's stress-related leave, that one.
Sure. And just what kind of support is the department giving to the educators now that you've noticed the spike? What support are you now giving to these educators fighting this mental health and just the stress-related?
No, we have a comprehensive employee health and wellness program. Really, we've got a very good psychosocial unit that is, for me, I think it's the best in the country for any department. I can vouch for them. We've seen them whenever there's major incidences which require them to go and really assist the learners, assist the educators, assist the families as well. So they're quite good. So they are there. But we've also put in place, measures to really find out when there are issues in schools at the level. I said to the districts, I expect them to really get to that point where they understand that because as district they are happy with me as their boss, as the MEC. So also schools which they service need to be happy with them for them to perform. But if they're not happy, you are not going to get the results. If you don't have a happy employee, you're not going to get the results. I mean, it's a simple rationale. So they have to really go down and delve into the issue and really understand and look at school case by case. If this school has seen an increase on these indicators that we've put forward, sick leave, maternity leave, etc., then they should note that it means there's something that is happening in the school that needs to be really looked closer. Is it a management issue? Is it a governance matter? Is it a learner issue? What is it? Because there are schools that are in very disadvantaged communities, but the school is thriving, the community, the learners, the atmosphere, the relation, the spirit. So it's all about this element that needs to be addressed. So they have to go in closer. And so as to why is it per school. But yes, we've also noted that mental illness on its own, it's a big issue, because we tend to not treat it early. I mean, those that are actually beginning to see signs of going to the depression, withdrawals. It takes a while for us to pick it up, or for them to really come out, and by the time it's So hence we've seen some teachers commit suicide. I've had one who committed suicide in a classroom recently, so that is as a sign that there is probably a problem that needs to be fundamentally addressed. But we've got a directorate that is solely focused on supporting our educators.
Sure. Well, as you're just speaking on that issue, so I've also been doing research and speaking to different unions, and they've mentioned that because mental illness it's not something that you can point out, the department tends to not treat it as other disease. That's how they've put out. So I just want to find out just the response from the department as to tackling those issues, especially mental health in our educators.
It's important that when you are as a educator, you need to really don't be afraid to seek help or ask. I mean, our hotline, these are free. It's a toll free. You can even use WhatsApp, but also running a strong advocacy campaign across, for to say, teachers, this is here, it's available, come utilize it. Because they don't speak. That's where the problem is. The unions are correct because no one speaks. Some are embarrassed. Some, they feel nobody's listening. But I'm saying to them, I'm listening because I do worry when I start having these cases of teachers not perform because they don't perform. They will not teach. I mean, if you're not okay, you're not going to teach. I mean, you want to fail. Kids are not going to perform. I mean, those are some of the indicators that we pick up. As much as we look at the indicator of a child not doing well, that something is not right. The same with the teacher. We also use it as an indicator as to, in the school, why is this teacher of this particular subject learners not performing? And then that's where we're able to pick up. But also in the process, we don't reprimand and say you're not doing your work, you're not meeting. But we get to understand why is it you're not performing. Is it a problem at home? Is it a problem? What is it? How can you help? Do you need to go? You need leave? You need to take home to rest? What is it that you do? But it needs a comprehensive, strategy that which encompasses all of us putting, our own collective effort into it to supporting each other. And lastly, I think more than anything, I'm of the view that, of course, if you are a school principal as the head, you really need to love and appreciate the educators that work with you so that you can also be sensitive. But if you're not sensitive, you will have this. And I will blame you. I do blame them. I will blame the principal if a teacher kills himself in a school. That how did you not know? Or how did you, what were the signs? There's always signs. There's always something that shows, Yeah.
Sure. And have you ever had teachers where now being attacked by learners and then they can't come back to school the following day or a following week? I mean, what happens in that situation? Because we know corporal punishment is out of the way and obviously teachers are co-parenting with the parents at school and they can't now retaliate. I mean, what happens in that situation when a teacher now is being attacked and now can't come back to school?
Yes, we've had those challenges. I think learner discipline is a big problem, and that has got nothing to do with us at schools. I know some people believe this is a bad school. No, it's not a bad school. It's parents who are bad parents and not teaching their children discipline. You can't say it's us. We're not a bad school. We want to teach kids. There's no teacher who wakes up in the morning and says, I'm going to fail this child. It's never like that. Teachers want to come and teachers love kids to listen. They love kids to do their work. They love kids who are on time. They love kids who need, who do their projects, who ask questions, who are inquisitive. They love those kids. But if you have kids who don't listen, who arrive late at school, who threaten teachers, and yes, true, educators in some of our schools are threatened. They do. I mean, every day, they are able, but they are brave. I mean, I call them everyday heroes, those type of teachers, because they're always breaking up these fights. They're able to speak up and say, this child is carrying this type of things that are not supposed to be in school. They're taking action. I mean, I appreciate the work of those teachers strongly. But I do understand those who are silent as well at the same time. And I really, because if the child comes up with a weapon and says, I'm going to use it on you. I mean, teachers are not police. They're not trained to fight. They're not fighters. They are, they are knowledge bearers. They are knowledge transmitters. So if somebody says they're violent and they're scared, yes, I understand. And we've heard, I know, but it's not at that level. But because it would have been, but it's there. There are instances, especially in schools that find themselves in communities where it's just generally violent around. I mean, on Friday I was in 4 and 2, and then we also invited Westbury High. So I had a discussion with the principal, and he was just telling me that literally, in that community, within just a stone throw from the school, on a daily basis, somebody's been killed. So this is what the trauma that kids see and the trauma that teachers see. And it says, now, getting a teacher to go to that school every day when you know that, number one, the gangsters can break the gate and attack you anytime. They can do any harm to you. And also they are recruiting those learners. So those learners, they arrive in the school as, some of them leaders of gang or associates of gang. So it's difficult. I mean, so you have those brave teachers who go out every day, irrespective, to school, going through the danger, into the classroom, transmit, teach kids, and go back home and become ethical. But support we do have. We do have. That's why we had a security as part of it to increase safety. Because when a child feels safe, and the teacher is safe, they're able to teach. But if they're scared, they don't teach. They get worried. I've had a child that I had to expel because that child. In fact, let me put it this way: there are kids who come to school because they want to study. Their kids. There are kids who come to school because they've made a decision that they don't want school, but they're just going to go to school and disrupt others, like deliberately disrupt others. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you say. That child is going to disrupt class. He's going to get to school, threaten the teacher, get to school, abuse and bully other learners, threaten them, get to school, make sure that the infrastructure is vandalized. So we do have those kids. And I've said to school, expel them because they're adults. I don't want them in the school.
So let's talk about overcrowding. You've cited overcrowding as a major factor affecting teacher morale and discipline. What immediate interventions are being implemented to just reduce that overcrowding in schools?
It is a problem, of course. Like I said, research also told us that it's actually number one contributor to educator stress currently. Well, it's the research. Beyond building, infrastructure, increasing access in terms of increasing learning spaces. More than anything, we have to employ more educators. Why do I say that? You find that overcrowding is subject related. Yes. Because if you look at our schools, we are always in the correct in terms of learner ratio. So you get to a school, if it's a high school, it's 1 to 40 or so, one educator to 40 learners. But the problem becomes the subject. Case in point, home language. You find that, this school is providing Sepedi, Sesotho, Zulu, and maybe English or so. But let's say 3, You find that there are more Zulu home language learners than Sepedi. So obviously the number of educators, as much as they keep in ratio in terms of number of learners to the teacher, but when it comes to subjects, they go to Zulu, there are 8 now. Well, 80, let me just say, because I know that there has been figures of 80 that I've come across. And then you go to Sepedi, it's a home language class. there are 20. You get my point. So those are some of the challenges, and hence they also and it's quite difficult on also other subjects, maths literacy, which is a popular subject that is taken in our school. So those subjects, you find that obviously the classrooms are big, and it's very difficult for a teacher to control. I mean, controlling 40 or 50 learners in a class, it's not an easy feat. To get them to listen, to get them to really concentrate, because there are too many. Even if you have eyes at the back of your head, you will not really get to control that class. And it's quite stressful because teachers also want to perform. And if they don't perform, and if they don't have results, we hold them accountable that why are you not performing, why are learners failing? What is it, you're not a good teacher, why there's no enthusiasm towards your enthusiasm from learners to come to class. So it's a big challenge. And also, I mean, the classroom size is not designed for that huge number, because if you have that number, ultimately you have some sitting on tables, some standing eventually. So it's quite stressful, I mean, for educators. I know that very much, especially in some of the schools that I know that they've got a higher number of learners. But some schools persevere, I must be honest with you. There's some persevere. I can tell you a school, Alexander High, the school capacity is 1,300, supposed to be there. But because of the population and pressure, they've got about 2,700 learners in the school. But in terms of performance, they're sitting at the 90% pass rate, because the teachers persevere, they understand, but the infrastructure it's there. They will be having big classes.
Sure. I think when we're speaking about the issue of the language, because I also, when I was in high school, we had that problem. But from grade 8 to grade 11, we were okay. Grade 12, because they trust the specific educator with isiZulu. All of us were just dumped into her. But like other schools, we persevered and we did great in that year. And and when you say that you need more educators, are you also maybe speaking of substitutes? Because it's also unions pointed out that at least if an educator is unwell or is sick or is suffering some of like just personal issues, there are no substitute teachers, and the work just keeps on piling up, and whenever they come back, instead of relaxing, it's going back to square one.
Yeah, with substitute teachers, we, as Gauteng, were very careful as to how we deal with that. Yes, we do get substitute teachers. They must not say we don't. We do, on a temporary basis. However, it should be noted, for example, one of our sister provinces, one of the reasons it has collapsed is because when there was such a leave, for example, maternity leave, they will bring a substitute and employ the substitute. Okay. So the system grew. Okay. So now it's no longer sustainable. You can't sit with above 80% employees, compensation of employees, and then you're left with 20% that you must invest in schools. It's not. It doesn't work. And that's why that sister province, I won't mention its name, had found itself. So in Gauteng we do it differently. We are quite specific. If we put you in 3 months, it is 3 months. Doesn't mean that we want to employ you when you're a substitute. We just make it clear that this is the case. And in some cases, obviously, we have to look. Can there be a teacher in the school to really substitute so that they can be able to assist the learner? So each school handles it differently. So for the union to say there's nothing, it's not true. They are aware themselves that there is. It's just that it's case by case dealt with.
Okay, so you also mentioned something in that previous briefing, the 16 schools that are being put in place to avoid overcrowdings and late applications. So just going back on that issue, how is the department, what's the plan in terms of these companies that have proven to be incompetent and have taken more than the specified time to actually complete the school. How is the department now tackling that issue in terms of not hiring those companies that would not perform in that time that has been given?
Yeah. Okay, our infrastructure development is done by DID. We are just building the 18 schools internally, so doing the budget facility for infrastructure, which is from the National Treasury to assist us to build. So that one is moving quite well. Okay. How we've dealt with one of them that really wasn't performed, we terminated them. But in terms of blacklisting, I think that is what we've been pushing. I mean, I've been advocating that let's blacklist contractors who don't complete a project. It doesn't matter where they didn't complete it in the country. The fact that you didn't complete and you left, we should blacklist you as incompetent, that you can't assist us. But now we've kept that cancer in the system for so long. I know some, they're so bad that they would start a school. There's one was building a school in Rasteval, didn't complete. And then the next thing he pops up doing a hospital. He didn't complete. I mean, it's a menace. It's a provincial government menace. I mean, how they keep on giving them work, I don't know, like really. So for those, that's what we should be able. Let's blacklist every single service provider who doesn't complete their work, and get people who really genuinely want. There are those that are working. For example, with the ones that have worked, I'm comfortable to say to you here in the know that by March next year, I should be getting around about 8 schools.
Okay.
Just because of these people are actually working. I mean, they're moving so quick, because they know that they have to succeed, and we're keeping them accountable. We're getting reports, we've got site visits just to oversee where they are, and so they're moving quickly. Yes. So that's on our infrastructure. The 16 schools, yes, we're busy. It's our schools. Remember, it's our infrastructure. We just left it because it's actually, some of them are in Sowetan. I don't know, for some reason, the residents of Sowetan, they wanted to remove their kids from the township schools in Sowetan and take them to suburban schools across the province. And that left those schools with the lower number of learners. But now they've realized that when we've changed the perception, and remember that time it was perception. Township doesn't teach, Model C teaches. You want the best education for your child, let them go speak English in a Model C school. So we've changed that perception now. So now they're going back to townships because they've seen that township schools outperform former Model C schools by far. I mean, in terms of infrastructure quality, in terms of the teachers themselves, because anyway, I say this, teachers go to the same lecturer, same school, same degree, they graduate on the same day. So whether your teacher is in Kuro or is in St. John or is in Hilton or is in Tembisa High or is in anywhere, Mapetla, it doesn't matter. The truth is that same teacher and that other teacher there, they were taught by the same person. Most probably the one you have in that township school was getting better grades than the one in the private school. So it doesn't matter. So that's why I'm confident about the quality. It's just the infrastructure that's really, I think, a concern to parents, and I understand them. That of course you want your child to have a cricket facility or a big soccer pitch that is green and extracurricular. But now they know in township schools that the programs might be revived so that parents can also start having confidence back with the schools again.
So just finally, MEC, so we just want to find out, how do these issues, school violence, overcrowding and stress, impact just the overall quality of education and mental wellness to both learners as well as educators?
It's stressful. It's difficult. We've also seen a rise in learner suicide. Actually, quite almost on a weekly basis, I do get, that the learner has been committing suicide. They've committed suicide. Obviously, let's say suspected, because it's but some, of course, they write letters, suicide notes. Then they say it is. In some cases, I become suspicious. There was one I said, no, I wish the police can just go investigate the passing of this child. So almost on a weekly basis, there is, one learner who's alleged to have committed suicide. So it's all related to, most of the time, bullying in school, or at home, the environment at home. So what we do best is really, appeal to learners that, we have ambassadors. We do have this school safety ambassadors that we use. We have a comprehensive, social workers. We have them as well. They are not enough, but we do have social workers to assist us in certain schools. But what I want to do in Gauteng, which is something that we've started, I want to give educators the basic training, skilling. Obviously, it's going to take time, of just identifying, the ability to identify a child with a problem, just knowing that, okay, these are the tell signs. Look at this, look at that, then there's a problem, and then seek help. Because our sister departments are ready, social development is ready, health is ready, and so forth, to assist at any time. But we need to identify these learners, we need to identify these educators that will need those particular support. So we are starting that program as a province, where we'll be teaching them just the basic skills to identify, to monitor. And as things go forward, we'll then obviously identify teachers in the system per school, which we will then give them, the second level tier, second tier skilling of, okay, how do you approach the child, how you speak to them, how do you assess, that what can you do, how do you get them to open up, so those will be designated teachers that will be identified. So it's a program that we are undertaking now as a province in Gauteng, because we realize if we don't take these extraordinary measures, the problem is going to exacerbate and it's going to grow, because as the more learners come into school, as the more teachers obviously continue to take and become absent, early retirement, there will be too much pressure, and if kids feel like there's no one is listening, if teachers feel there's no one is listening, or no one has an interest in their well-being, then we're going to see these numbers continue to grow. It's a worrying numbers, one too many. Yeah, that's my belief. So we are undertaking these extraordinary measures to see how best, to reverse this. And it does affect performance. I can tell you, overcrowding, learner discipline, you can't perform. I mean, and a simple thing, I always tell people that if a school is dirty, kids will misbehave. I mean, I've seen it. If it's a dirty school, kids are misbehaving. A clean school, kids don't disrupt as much. They are much more disciplined. So it's important that we get those small basics right, so that we can really get, to stabilize our schools.
Thank you so much for your time. That's all from In the Know with Sowetan. My name is Nandi Ntini. Stay tuned. Thank you.